We'll start with our module 2 on image charts. So right now we'll start learning about another charting functions from our UI module. So we have UI.chart. We learned about some time series functions, right? So we learned about all of these. We have some other functions. There's a image by class, image by region. We also have some functions such as histogram. You can see there's a UI chart on image histogram. So let's learn how to use the histogram. This is very commonly used for data exploration. When you're building your model or when trying to understand your data distribution, you want to build a histogram. A histogram is a plot where you have on the x-axis the pixel values and on the y-axis the count of each pixel. And they'll tell you what is the distribution of the pixels. So in this script, what we want to do is we want to work with some night lights data. We are working with this collection of harmonized nighttime lights from 92 to 2020. This has pixel values with the nighttime light intensities. And we have selected admin region. And this is what the region looks like. So you can see this is the geometry of the region. These are the different pixel values. This is the intensity of the pixels at night. Okay, so these are the nighttime lights images that is taken. And I want to know what is the distribution. We have the pixel values. You can see the intensities will vary from 0 to 64, 0 to 63. And some values are 14, some values are 5, some values are 59 and so on. So I want to know how many pixels in this region are 0, how many are 1, how many are 2, and so on. So I want to create that chart so I can understand the distribution of the region. We are using this admin boundaries from collection called geo boundaries, and I'll just add this to the map. So first step, I want to add the admin 0 layer. So if I say map.add layer admin 0, this will add all the countries. So in the exercise, you'll have to kind of select the country that you want. So let's say I want to select India. So I click here and I find out what is the name of my country in this collection. So this is India. So I'm going to select India here. So my country is India. And we also have admin 1. So we have, if I add admin 1 here, these are all admin 1 polygons. I'm going to switch it back because it's, so if I add admin 1, now I'm going to say, I want to get the nighttime limits for, say, one of the admin 1s in India. And if I click here, you'll see this feature is called Karnataka, right? So I have to replace my name of admin 0 and admin 1 in my country, get the geometry for that. Once we have done this, we'll go and create the chart. Okay, so we have the image here and we have the geometry. So let's create the chart. So we're going to use the UI.chart.image.histogram. Okay, so this is the function for creating the histogram. And we'll fill all the different parameters. Control space. The image here is the NTL image, the region geometry. The scale of this image we extracted from this image, which is a resolution. It's about 1 kilometer resolution for this. And there are some parameters. When you create a histogram, do you want to plot each individual pixel value or do you want to group them by certain range? Maybe you have pixel values from 1 to 1,000 and you say, I want to group it into 10 buckets. So this is what those parameters mean. And for now, I'm just going to skip all of that. So let's skip and see what comes out. So here is what your histogram looks like. So you can see there are, some 160 values of B1 and so on. And you can see this region is very bright. A lot of the pixel values are very high. Right, so this is your data distribution here. We can also add some parameters. We'll just say my buckets, I want 63 buckets because I have values from 0 to 63. And I'll say min width 1. So I want buckets at each pixel value. So I get the count of each pixel here. And so now I get this histogram for each particular pixel value that I have. Let's customize this thing. So I'm going to make this chart a little better. So let's learn about what are the different things we can do. So we'll do our set options. We'll set the titles and of the axis. So here we are saying title is this, v-axis is number of grids. We can also set the grid lines to be transparent. So you can see the grid lines are kind of distracting here. We don't really want all this dense grid lines. So we can set them to transparent. You can also have the ticks at a specific interval. So again, you can see the ticks are at all this, random places. So we can change them to be at specific places. So let's see what happens. So you can see my chart looks much nicer now, much cleaner. I have the grid set is transparent. I have the values, specific intervals. I have the X and Y axis title as well. The type of this chart is a column chart. So column charts also have some additional options that we can control. So they have a parametrical bar that controls the values about each of the bar in the bar chart. So we'll just say gap. So instead of just them being together, you can say give a 1 pixel gap between those. And you can see this one just has a little bit more gap between those. So just small difference, but it makes, instead of them all being clumped together, we have a small gap between those pixels. And we can also just set the color. So I'm just going to say, maybe make it a gray color bar. So now you can see I have this. Let's turn off the legend. Remember yesterday, we can just say position none. I don't want a legend. Yeah, so now we have position, that's why. So we went from this kind of basic looking histogram to kind of pretty nice looking histogram. If you want to put this in a paper, it'll look quite good and quite informative as well. So this is our final histogram of night lights here.